Have you ever trusted someone you met 2 days ago? Jake did, and almost didn't come back. On a trip that was supposed to be all about rest, he woke up in the middle of the night, with his friend standing next to his bed in the dark in silence. If you like dark stories based on facts, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. What follows is real. I met Ryan on a muggy July night in a rooftop bar in Austin, Texas. The air was thick, sticking to your skin. The kind of heat that only the south of the United States can produce. We bumped into each other near the bar while a Rangers game was on, and ended up chatting because of it. We laughed, exchanged Instagrams. No big deal, just another one of those casual summer connections. At least that's what I thought. The next day it was my friend's birthday. I posted a quick story of our group singing happy birthday. In less than an hour, Ryan showed up at the same bar. Coincidence? He said with a smile. This place is my favorite on Saturdays. I laughed, but part of me was suspicious. He was nice, confident, even too much so. Always with a catchphrase ready, always making conversation. And when we met for the third time, on a random Sunday, he proposed. I'm planning a quick trip to the Grand Canyon next weekend. Would you like to come? If you like real horror stories, subscribe to our channel and leave a like, because this one will make you look at seemingly normal people differently. I agreed. We checked the dates and agreed on the details. He said he'd rented a comfortable Airbnb and had even hired a car. We went the following weekend. It was my first time in Arizona. When we arrived, it was dark. The heat of the day was still sticking to the car seats. On the way, we stopped to eat and he bought a bottle of vodka to relax in the Airbnb. I thought that was normal. The place was simple but nice. There was only one room. Oh, relax, he said, pointing to the sofa that turns into a bed. Make yourself at home. I was too tired to question it. I set up the makeshift bed and went to sleep. That was the first night. I woke up to the sound of footsteps. I opened my eyes and saw Ryan walking barefoot across the living room to the kitchen. Water? He muttered, catching my gaze. I went back to sleep, but something bothered me. The next morning he woke me up early. A clear sky, golden light coming through the windows. We went straight to the Grand Canyon. The place was breathtaking, gigantic, dry, almost silent. He took me along the bright Angel Trail. Ryan walked easily, smiled, and seemed at peace. I, on the other hand, was exhausted. Come on, man. Almost there, he said, laughing at my desperation. I just wanted to sit down and drink some cold water. We spent hours there, taking photos, talking about life. Everything seemed normal. But that night, something changed. We went back to the Airbnb after another tour of Phoenix. I was finished. Ryan insisted on drinking more. Last one of the night. I refused. I went straight to sleep on the sofa. I slept hard, but something woke me up again. The charger cable dangled, swinging slightly, without my cell phone. I looked away. The device wasn't on the floor. It was on the table, switched off. Just like the night before. Coincidence again? Do you think that's strange enough? Just wait until you find out what I saw last night. He's already sharing this story with someone who needs to be more careful about who he trusts. On the third and final night, Ryan said, "You can have the room tonight. It's only fair." I thought it was polite. I took my things, thanked him, and closed the bedroom door. I slept, but not for long. I woke up to a strange chill. The air was heavy. There was a presence. I looked down at the foot of the bed. Standing there in the dark was Ryan. Silent. Standing. Staring at me. "Ryan?" I asked, my voice caught in my throat. He didn't answer. He just stood there, immobile. I suddenly stood up. What the fuck? He just turned around slowly. I got it mixed up. I thought you were going to sleep here. But he wasn't near the door. He was in the corner behind the bed. I picked up my things. I started throwing everything into the suitcase. He sat on the edge of the bed, expressionless. He watched me as if I were an object. "What do you want with my cell phone?" I asked. "Nothing." Silence. "You touched it again, didn't you?" He lowered his eyes, then whispered, "You're imagining things." I called an Uber and left without looking back. At the airport, I waited for hours for my flight. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I remembered his face watching me in the darkness. And the question hammered at me, what did he want? I blocked Ryan on all my networks. But first, I went to one of his old Instagram photos. There were other guys in the picture. One of them answered me directly. Stay away from him. He's dangerous. He said he knew other people who had been through similar things. Scary situations. One of his friends said he should be in prison. I was in shock. All I wanted was to understand. Why was he touching my cell phone? Was he trying to access something? Control me? Manipulate me? I never found out. All I know is that I was lucky to get out of there. We think we know how to spot danger. But what about when he smiles, dresses well, seems funny and says the right things? Sometimes the real predator doesn't chase you down the street. He invites you on a trip. So, would you have the courage to go through that? Subscribe to the channel and click on the card that appears. The next story is even more disturbing. They thought they were alone on that beach. But something or someone was already watching them from afar. And what's worse, it was still there after they left. If you also have that feeling of being watched when no one is around, stay with me. What you're about to hear may not put you to sleep anytime soon. If you're not already subscribed, take advantage of it now, and activate the little bell so you don't miss the next stories. My name is Ben, I'm from North Carolina, and this happened last summer in July. I was on vacation from high school and arranged with my two best friends, Troy and Lucas, to take a trip of our own, just like old times. We went to Lucas' family's beach house on the Outer Banks. A simple place, 2 bedrooms near the sea. Nothing fancy but perfect. The idea was just to relax, drink, laugh and reminisce about old times. The first day was uneventful. We walked along the promenade, played arcades and ate junk food. The beach was full of families and tourists. Strong sun, the smell of salt, the sound of children and waves, everything as it should be. In the evening we made hamburgers, cracked open a few beers and started a drinking game of some kind. Around midnight, Troy came up with the idea. Let's go to the beach. Just for a few minutes. Lucas and I agreed on the spot. If you've ever felt that there's something wrong in the dark, but nobody believes you, then you need to listen to this story all the way through. Because sometimes what you felt was really there. Take advantage of this and leave a like. It really helps the channel to keep telling these real stories. We took a flashlight and a sweatshirt each and went down. The beach was empty. Silence apart from the sound of the waves. It was that heavy calm that only a beach at night has, the kind that is beautiful and uncomfortable at the same time. We walked around a bit, soaking our feet in the cold water. We laughed, we talked, we played silly jokes. Until Lucas suddenly stopped. You see, that over there? He pointed to a silhouette about 50 meters away. A person? Maybe. But the way it moved, it didn't seem right. The figure walked slowly, close to the water, with rigid movements. Its arms weren't swinging. Its head seemed to be turned too far to one side. And it was looking. We tried to ignore it. Maybe it's just a drunk guy looking for something, said Troy. I wanted to believe that. But the silence became thick. The figure stopped. It stood still for minutes, immobile. Dude, he's looking at you, said Lucas. I froze. Don't joke about that. Seriously. His head's turned. He's looking right at you. I held up the flashlight. My hand was shaking. I turned it on. For a second, the light hit the figure. What we saw didn't seem right. His skin was gray, almost colorless. He was soaking wet, wearing wet jeans and no shirt. His eyes, too open, expressionless. And his neck was tilted at a strange angle. Just as the light hit him, he ran. Straight. With everything. We ran. I didn't think, I just ran. My feet hit the sand. Lucas shouted after me. The figure came running with a hard, inhuman movement. As if it had no bones. We ran up the wooden stairs towards the street. We only stopped when we saw the nearest lamppost. There was no one else behind us. The beach was empty. If you've ever experienced something strange and wondered, was I the only one who saw that? This part of the story will prove that there are people like you, who haven't been able to forget it either. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and comment if something similar has happened to you. In the house, we locked doors and closed curtains. Nobody slept properly. The next day, we tried to pretend it was a crazy drunk. But nobody really believed it. The way he moved, the way he appeared out of nowhere. After that night, everyone went their separate ways. But 2 weeks later, Lucas sent me a message. Do you still dream about it? He said he'd been dreaming about the man on the beach, always standing in the corner of the room, wet, staring, without blinking. The worst? Me too. And last week, almost a year later, I saw a post on a local Facebook group. Someone had taken a photo of the beach at 1 a.m. In the middle of the darkness. There he was. Same silhouette. Same posture. In the comments, several people said they had already seen him. Some said that he goes into the sea and never comes back. Others said they had found dry footprints on the doors of houses near the sand. Only one-way footprints. Never back. Real fear doesn't end when the sun rises. It goes on inside us in the nights when we wake up and swear we saw someone standing in the dark. Have you ever seen something that nobody could explain? Then click on the next video. The next story will make you rethink everything you've ever experienced. And of course, subscribe, like, and comment below on what you would have done in their place. They just wanted to drink and relax on the boat. But 2 figures emerged from the sea in the middle of the night and tried to climb aboard. If it had been you out there, would you have seen what they saw? Would you have escaped in time? Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Here we tell the kind of stories that leave you thinking, what if it were me? My name is Dylan. It happened when I was 19 in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, that classic coastal town that thrives on summer and tourism. My best friend, Mason, and I would always sneak out to drink on the weekends. He had a fake ID. I had a family boat. It was the perfect combination. That night, all we wanted to do was have a little fun before our other friends showed up. We grabbed a couple of beers, turned on the stereo, and took the boat to a quiet spot in the bay where other people usually anchored to relax. There were 2 boats nearby. One was already leaving, the other was still playing music. We stood between them, dropped anchor, and started drinking, watching the sky slowly darken. But then the music from the second boat stopped, and everything became very, very quiet. Have you ever experienced the kind of silence that seems wrong? Have you ever felt that something was about to happen, even when there was nothing around? Then stay with me, and tell me in the comments, do you trust your instinct? Take advantage of this and leave a like to keep receiving stories like this. I made fun. I shouted for them to play one more, we laughed, we kept drinking. That's when Mason stopped laughing. Dude, look at that. I looked at the boat next to us. 3 figures were standing on the bow, standing still, just looking at us. In the dark, we could only see their outlines. No faces. They must be enjoying the breeze, I said, laughing. But Mason didn't laugh. He couldn't take his eyes off them. They're looking straight at us, and they're not moving. Relax, man, I said. No, Dylan. This isn't normal. The tension began to rise. After a few minutes of standing still, 2 of them jumped into the water. Silence. The third stayed in the boat, immobile. Mason grabbed the anchor. Let's get out of here. Now. The sound of the water became different, more dense. We started the engine, or we tried. As Mason pulled up the anchor, I heard a crack. Something hit the hull. I turned my head and saw a hand emerge from the water, trying to climb onto the back of our boat. I shouted. Mason jumped over the side. Another hand appeared on the other side, grabbing the side. I started the engine with force. The boat jerked and hit another boat lightly. I reversed. We accelerated in reverse. We just wanted to get out of there. They didn't make it, but almost. After a few minutes, when we were further away, we looked back. Another boat had turned on its lights and was approaching us. Are they coming after us? I don't know. But I'm not going to wait to find out. We maneuvered in the dark. We ran between other boats. Finally, we managed to dock near my father's house. What would you do if you saw 2 people jumping into the water, coming straight towards you in the dark? Would you try to run away, or wait to see what they want? Comment on what you would have done in our place. and share this story with anyone who would have the courage to stay. We met up with friends later and told them everything. Nobody took it seriously. But Mason's face said it all. He saw it. I saw it. It was real. The next day we went back there in the sunshine. Nothing. No strange boat. No clues. But the feeling didn't go away. Danger doesn't always come from the forest or from old houses. Sometimes it comes from the water. Without a sound. Without a face. And it stares at you as if it knows you. Would you dare go back to that place? Or do you think it was just paranoia? Comment, like, and subscribe. The next story may be even harder to explain.